what up? We're speaking with local graph artist. We'll leave his name out of it, but just trying to get some information and speak candidly to the camera. Let us know, basically everything. We're just gonna help out, So just speak on everything. Be blunt. No worries. Okay.
Sure.
How old are you now?
17.
When did you start writing?
Probably when I was about 14, 15.
14 or 15? How did you start getting into it?
Just everybody else was doing it at my school, so I thought it was like, I don't know, they were the cool kids at the time. So that's how it started at first, all innocent, and then kind of changed.
Do you remember like the first time you wrote somewhere?
Yeah, it was tagging in the bathrooms at school.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what'd you use?
Like Sharpies.
Okay.
Just
like that?
Your little Sharpies right here. Pop the top off right here. Broke it a little bit, but right here. Squish it.
Yeah.
You get the little fluid that comes out with the ink.
Nice. I never knew that.
And then just kill it.
Right. The name that you write with now, is it the same as it was back then?
No.
How many times has it changed?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Okay. Like right now, we have you wearing a bandana and a hood. Like, why is it important to protect your identity or everything?
The police. And just honestly problems with other graffiti artists. Like, it's best just to keep everything out of it. Keep your identity out of it so you don't start outside drama that doesn't need to be started.
Maybe tell me the different methods that you use to get up, like different pens, different paints, different...
Well, generally, I would, pretty much, I'd be taking the bus most of the time, and where I got up the most was on the buses. I would take rocks and scribe on the bus windows, and it was pretty much because I'd be taking the bus everywhere, all around town to get everywhere I needed to go. I'd be taking the bus, so I would just get up all the time on the buses. At first, it was more doing it behind the bus driver's back, and then it was doing it blatantly in front of everyone on the bus, just standing up and scribing on the windows.
And no one says anything?
Oh, no, people say stuff.
So they just start talking smack and...
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, where do we go from here? So you're riding the bus. Is there always people with you, like friends and crews? Like, explain crews. How does all that work?
Well, I mean, generally not all the time I was riding was with people from my crew. A lot of the time I got up by myself. I would be walking down the street in late night hours and just be getting up with, your little Magnums, Sharpies, carrying around 6, 7 cans of paint, just getting up wherever possible, especially early hours in the morning. Not very many people are out watching, not very many people see it, so pretty much every surface is free game.
And do you think about what surface you're putting on, or you just get down, or
anywhere? Just
cause, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's sort of like that respect thing. Like, you see someone, and it's like it almost, when someone tells me that when they saw me get up or that was an ill bomb or something, like it was like a feeling of like someone noticed. It was like a sort of like the fame aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like fame within, kids that can read it, or fame within your culture. Right?
Yeah, the graph society.
And what about like when do you think negatively on some of them? Like if you don't know them, and how does that make you feel?
The toys, I just want to cross them out. I mean, it's like you see some whack graffiti, like. I mean, me, personally, whenever I saw my shit on someone's building, I was just like, that's sick. Or, like, some of the homies or whatever. But when you see, like, people, like, the toys out there that just write bullshit and, you can't even read their shit because it's so whack, you just walk up, cross them out because they're whack.
So when you see someone else, like, you want to cross them out and get up right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but say it's someone you know, do you also want to get up right there?
It depends how close I am with that person. There's a few people that, I'll get up right next to them, just, to show them that I saw their shit, and then I got up next to it, that I was there.
Yeah. Okay. I've noticed a lot of tagging pen stuff and whatnot under bridges. Like, what's the deal with that? Like, is that where you're kicking it?
Well, yeah, sometimes we'd stop, like, and get high in the tunnels, or, under bridges, and, I mean, nice surfaces, clean surfaces. It's pretty much, it didn't matter where it was just right on anything. Someone's going to see it eventually.
Aren't, doing any crime with it, like crime doesn't go with it. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think that most of the kids that are out there at these times doing these things are doing other stuff?
Me personally, I'm not really going to mention what I was doing, but I was doing other crimes that sort of went with graffiti. I mean, I won't get too in depth, but it would be stealing $100, $200 worth of paint from Home Depot, stealing markers just from anywhere, stealing acrylics from Walmart, and also drugs. With me, drugs came with graffiti. Whenever I was writing, I would have to be high.
Do you know many kids that are sober and do graffiti?
No.
It doesn't really go together.
No.
So that's the way you're getting your materials. Like, how you're just stealing them,
Racking them
for the most part, and that's for the most part what everyone does, right?
I don't know about everyone else, but I didn't have much money. I would spend all my money on drugs. I can't, it'd be a rare opportunity that I could steal drugs from someone, and I didn't really want to dig deep into problems like that, so I would just steal my paint from the stores and spend my money on drugs.
And how many have you gotten caught doing that? How many times have you been arrested?
Have I been arrested for graffiti or in general?
Yeah, let's just say in general.
26 times.
When was the first time you got arrested?
When I was 13, 14 for fighting with my parents.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so, I'm sorry, how many times total?
26.
Dang. Okay, you have a graffiti charge soon, right?
Yeah,
What is there that you could say anything about it? Like, I know you probably don't want to go into it too much, but is there anything you could say about it? Do you think that the cops know everything? Or
generally, I don't really think they know everything, but every time they clean up a tag, they take a picture of it and they charge you with the $5 to $10 per tag, and they take pictures and pictures, and they keep tabs on your tags, and eventually, when you get caught, they nail you with all of it.
so they've got a good amount, but do you think it's everything?
No, not everything.
Let's say, if you had to estimate how many kids are out there doing it, like right now, how many would you think? In town or whatever.
Yeah.
Just think about the ones maybe.
The ones, well, if I could give a rough estimate of all of them, probably 400, 500 kids.
In town?
In towns, maybe more. And that's not including the old school graffiti artists who, 30, 40 years old.
Yeah.
Been writing their whole life.
How do you think it progresses? Like, let's go through your beginning to the end. So you started getting up on little things, became more confident, or how did it go?
Yeah, it was, I started in high school just getting up at school and catching little spots with Sharpies, little markers, and then eventually I progressed to, writing in the streets, generally at nighttime because I was nervous to get caught. I was younger, and I started using more drugs, and with that came a lot more confidence in myself. And especially when I was drinking, I would write in front of anyone, not caring what they were thinking or what they would say, just in broad daylight, bombing in broad daylight. It went from, doing graffiti or just tagging to actually blatantly just doing it in front of everyone, not caring about getting arrested. I would just run.
Okay. The ways kids steal paint, where are the places that you stay away from because you can't steal from there?
there would be no place to stay away from. We would take the bolt cutters from Home Depot and cut their cages, the locks on the cages, and fill a shopping cart up with paint and run out.
Wow. Okay. So basically nowhere safe.
Nowhere safe, but it's people are going to try to stop you, and it's up to you what lengths you're going to go to get that paint. What you're gonna do to support your habit. Your love of graffiti. Me, I would do anything. I would steal anything. I really was careless, which came along with the drug use too.
So how come you don't write now, or do you write still?
No, I quit writing about a month, 2 months ago. I caught a felony charge for the tag force. I'd been keeping tags on me, and someone had brought my name up somewhere, and they brought me in, and pretty much I was done with it. Bringing too much drama in my life. I have a family to take care of now, so it's not really a priority anymore. It's something that would more so bring me down than help me get back up. Graffiti now would be more so doing something legal, putting my art out in a productive way.
You said you're 17, right?
Yeah.
And how about just name the drugs that you've done?
I've pretty much, it's just started with smoking pot in high school, and then experimenting with different things, coke here and there, ecstasy, whenever someone had it, shrooms, acid, and then, I started smoking spice a lot, just because it was readily available and easy to get, cheap, and I got pretty into smoking spice, and I would be out panhandling so I can get some money to smoke some spice, or selling the paint that I stole to smoke some spice. And then eventually after that, I started experimenting with harder drugs, heroin and meth. And I started to get a lot deeper into the addiction of meth.
How's it been stopping?
Stopping, it feels great, honestly. At first it was rough. At first it was, I wanted to use, I wanted to get high. And then I realized these positive changes in my life were happening for a reason. This was the next step in my life. Luckily I had done all of this shit, gotten into graffiti, came early, and came out early too.
Tell me the worst parts and tell me the best parts.
Well, the worst parts was the nights high on methamphetamine, walking down the street and bombing, and then seeing someone you have problems with when you're with a couple people and just brutally beating them because you have problems with them. They slashed you, they put your, they crossed you out. It's just like a blatant sign of disrespect. And so we felt like we had to, me, myself, I felt like I had to prove myself that person, like you shouldn't be disrespecting me. And so I did some pretty horrible things. People who may have had families, people who maybe just slashed me because they were in with their crew or whatever. They didn't really have any problems with me, but it was because other people were doing it. But I didn't consider that. It was that they disrespected me, so I'm going to disrespect them now. The best parts of graffiti were walking around with the friends, just enjoying ourselves, the same walking around high, but just bombing with 3 or 4 people, maybe rolling around in the car, just stopping and hitting killer spots, and then hopping back in the car and being gone.
Yeah. So, there's probably a lot linked to being outside and enjoying your friends.
Yeah,
being on the same level.
Yeah.
So.
The partying was one of the best parts.
Yeah. Get up at.
Well, there's washes everywhere. There's yard, like the Titty City, it's huge. Plenty of space. You might have to go over someone here and there, but plenty of space where you can get up. You can put your shit out there. There's yards all over town. I would fuck someone up, and I just had to kind of put that empathy into what I was doing because I was doing it mindlessly for a while. Just all I wanted to do was write. That's all I was doing, was writing and using drugs. Do some restitution, go through probation, more than likely.
Well, hopefully we can work together and help other kids too,
Yeah, it's definitely, I like what you're doing here, like with the whole helping people before it gets to the point where they dive so deep that it's hard to get out.